Hi, I'm Matt and I'm your friend. I'd like to talk to you about a couple things that I've observed and learned and picked up in my life, on my journey, about how to have a life that's worth living. The first one is simply this. We've got to start with the end in mind. We've got to lay a foundation in our minds where we think about the end. I think there are 3 levels of doing this. The first one is this. When my children were small and we would go to a funeral, one of them would always say to me, "Daddy, make me a promise. Make me a promise that I'll never die." And I would say to them, "All daddies die, yet I will always be with you." We need to think about the end as we start each and every day, each and every relationship, each and every endeavor. Everything comes to an end. So the first level is this. Because we all die, we need to make sure that our lives can go on. Our lives can last. There's a couple ways to do that. The first one is this. We need to be intentional in every single relationship. Every single relationship, we need to think about this moment as though it could be the last. Then secondarily, we want to see those people later. The whole purpose of going to a funeral, the whole purpose of going there is because we believe we're going to see them later. Now here's the deal. I only know one way to really ensure that that happens. And that's through having a relationship with the one who already inhabits eternity. Yes, you have to have a relationship with God. Now the only way to do that is to know His Son. Now I'm not talking about all the rules and all the rituals and all the things that come along with what you might call church or meeting in a congregation. I'm talking about a relationship with Jesus Christ Himself. That's simple to do. The way you do that is just accept the account of Jesus. That He came, He lived, He died, and He was buried in a broad tomb because He wouldn't be there for very long. That's where it begins. Once you do that, you can ensure that you will go on with everybody that comes to see you that day will get to see you again, as long as they have that same sort of relationship. Second, if we are going to have a life that really matters, we need to have a way of creating words and mementos that remind us to get in a good space, to get in a good place where we live this moment in a good way. I do that through 3 activities. The first one is I have words that prompt me to reflect on good things. The second is I have little mementos that remind me of different activities that were really good. And then I have memories that are stored in my mind and in my heart that will go with me forever. For instance, my words are this. I have installed them on my phone as reminders that come up on a regular basis. One of them is serve, because I believe that we're all here to serve the greater good. The second one is connection. I think we're supposed to be connected to each other. And my last word that I use on a regular basis is the word grateful, because I think we unleash the power of creativity, the power of intention, the power of goodness through gratefulness. Also, in my pocket, I have a little ruby. That ruby reminds me, it's a memento. It reminds me. I also have in my pocket a pocket knife. The reason I have a pocket knife is because someone gave it to me and they said to me that this is to symbolize the openness and the friendship that you and I have. And then on the dashboard of my truck, I have a rubber cockroach. You might say, a cockroach? Why a cockroach? The reason I have a cockroach is because it's the most notorious, non-give-up creature on the planet. it turns upside down and it keeps wiggling its legs until it can figure out how to go. And it reminds me on a regular basis, keep trucking, keep trucking. Number 3, the third activity that really helps me have a life that's worth living is I embrace separation. I embrace separation. And what I mean by this is this: every relationship comes with an end. Every friendship, every endeavor, every job, everything comes with an end, and we are then separated from it. And here's what happens to me. What used to happen to me is I would create a relationship and then it would end. Or I'd want to have a relationship with this person or that person and they didn't want me. And so here's the deal. To embrace separation is to realize some want you forever. Some want you for a moment. Some want you just till this is over. And you know what else? If some want you, some don't. Some just don't. And that's okay for them not to want you. Because at the end of the day, you have to realize that you're wanted by somebody and be grateful about that. Rejoice over that. Be happy about that. Number 4, what is the activity or the practice that's number 4? This is a big one, and it's this. We have to have sort of a see you later mentality, a see you later intention. And what I mean by this is this. If every relationship, if every moment moves on, if everything that we do changes, if everything we do transitions into something else, then we need to have a sort of see you later mentality. And here's what I mean by that. When we leave each other, what's my intentions of how I want you to feel about our moments together? And I need to come into this space that you and I both occupy together with the intentions that we're not going to be here forever. How do I want that to happen? That's why I practice never saying goodbye. Very few people have ever heard me say goodbye. It's always see you later. It's always I'll see you soon, because I plan to do that. Even when I would tell my children that when they were really young, I'll see you soon. I think that we need to have that idea that we're going to see each other again. Number 1. Number 2, sometimes we don't see each other again physically, yet we do see each other mentally and emotionally on a regular basis. And so I want to say to you that when we come into space together, when we boldly go where we've never been before, and we're together, then it's at that, before we ever get there, that we have to have sort of like a prime directive. When I get into your space, when I leave, I want you to feel like this was a sweet time that we spent together. It was a refreshing time that we spent together. It was a rejuvenating time that we spent together. And that's why I think we should say, see you later. The 5th thing that I think that will help you and I have a life that's worth living is simply this. Intend to be yourself regardless of what's going on. Not just yourself, but be your best at every opportunity that you're with somebody. When you meet somebody that seems like a random moment, be yourself. Let your eyes communicate your best self. Let your words communicate your best self. Let your touch, when you physically get to shake their hand or hug their neck, be your best self. Always be your best self. Now, let me just say this to you. There's going to be some circumstances, there's going to be some people around you that are not their best selves, and you're going to be swayed, you're going to be pulled in a direction to be your lower self or to be another self. I want to encourage you. Your gift to the world is wrapped up in being yourself. Being not just yourself, but your best self, the best image of you. And over time, you'll enjoy that more than anything else. And when people treat you wrong, when they don't act right, when circumstances don't work out the way you want, still remain the best version of yourself. Number 6, forgive quickly. Forgive quickly. The sad thing about life is some of your expectations are not going to be met. Some of your desires are not going to be fulfilled. Some of your dreams are not going to happen. And so you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be discouraged. Depression is going to want to seep into your soul. Even in those times, I want to encourage you with everything I have. Forgive quickly. It is interesting how the planet rotates and moves around the sun. And yet what we have done, we've coined this idea that the sun sets and it rises. In actuality, what it does is it stays exactly where it's always been. It has never moved. And it's the earth that moves and moves. And I think there's a daily hint of how we're supposed to handle offenses, how we're supposed to handle disappointments, how we're supposed to handle discouragements, how we're supposed to handle disillusionments. I think every time the sun goes out of our sight, we should let that wrath, that anger, that disappointment, those disillusionments, those discouraging times disappear as the sun goes away. Now, I'm not talking about allowing your responsibilities to go. I'm just talking about those times where you are discouraged, where you're disappointed, where somebody said they would do something for you or with you. Somebody promised, I'll be with you forever, and yet they're not. That's when you need to let the sun remind you. You need to let the sun remind you. Let it go. And the way you do that is to forgive. So what is forgiveness? Exactly what is forgiveness? See, we have all these mis-ideas, these miscommunicated and these erroneous ideas of what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is really not about the person that deceived you. It's not about the person that discouraged you. It's not about the person that disillusioned you. It's not. What it's about is letting yourself go so you don't have to live in their lying to you or their deceit to you or the activity that they did that discouraged you. You let yourself go and you live free of that. Now, does that mean that you just let them back into your life? You just let that situation back into your life so that it can hurt you again? No. What it means is you learn from that and you now embrace separation. And you learn what kind of personalities are not really great for you. Because listen, as much as lies within you will determine how free you are to live your life to be yourself. And this is something I really want you to get. The truth is this: whatever you do not forgive, whoever you do not forgive, whatever circumstance you do not let go, you are doomed to repeat it. Maybe not in real life, but somewhere much more powerful. And that's in your mind and in your emotions. The only way I know how to have real, genuine freedom from that is, in fact, to let it go through forgiveness. Number 7. Number 7, for me, is a big one. I think we need to regularly rest, reflect, relationship, replenish, and restart our lives. Let me describe to you what I mean by this. Every day, we need to find some way to rest from our regular habits. Every single week, we need to take a break from what we do. Every single week. Listen to me. If you do not rest regularly and every single day, every single week, you'll become weak, W-E-A-K, at everything you're supposed to do. We're supposed to take a break from everything that we do. We're supposed to take a break. And then reflect. We need to set a time that we reflect on what's going on in our lives. I do that in the evening just before I close my eyes to go to sleep. I reflect, and in that reflecting time, there's a couple of things that I do. I get replenished during that time, but I reflect on the relationships that I've had during that day. I reflect on the relationships, and I do something else too. Those times that I've been hurt by somebody, been hurt by a situation that I kept a hold of, what I do while I'm in my time of reflection, I return it back to them. I no longer hang on to it because I'm convinced that the quality of my day begins the night before. It begins the night before when I lay down to close my eyes and rest. We need to learn how to rest. There's all kinds of ways to rest. You can rest through inactivity of your career. Move away from your career once a day. Do something. Take your shoes off and walk in the grass. Go sit somewhere. Every single day. Rest your mind, rest your heart, rest your soul. And then at night, get the amount of sleep that you need to have. You'll figure this out. And then every week, take a full day and disengage. Now I know, for some of you solopreneurs, some of you entrepreneurs, some of us that are building our businesses so that we can have a career that can take care of our families and leave a legacy, it is so hard. It is so hard to take a day and just reflect. So what you have to do is accumulate those days and take a vacation. And really, I'm not sure it ought to be called a vacation, and more so a recreation, a recreation, a recreation of who we are. We need to take time away from the field. We need to take time and let some things lay dormant for a while. That's the reflection. The relationship, you and I need people in our lives that give back to us as much as we give out, that serve us and give us something wonderful. We need to have relationships with people. We need to deploy, and let me just say something. As I make this video, as I stand here in front of Lodi Lake, the habit of most people today is they're going to text people and they're going to Snapchat and they're going to Instagram and they're going to Facebook. And in that, they think they have a quality relationship. The truth is, that's not a quality relationship. Quality relationships is when we come into each other's space and we see the whites of our eyes. We see and hear each other, and we physically touch in appropriate ways. We do that on a regular basis. That's what relationship is all about. And by the way, relationships come with lows, they come with highs, they come with valleys, they come with peaks, they come with wonderful emotional times, and they also come with sad times. The quality of the relationship is the quantity of time you spend face to face and voice to voice and heart to heart, and it should get better as time goes on. Now, while we're here talking about relationships, there's no such thing as a 50-50 relationship. There's no such thing as a 50-50 relationship. All highly strategic, high-valued relationships, both people commit 100% to that relationship. You say, well, what happens those days that I'm not feeling 100%? Well, see, if you give 100% and I give 100%, when I'm only 80% and you're only 80%, guess what happens? We still overlap each other. Yet, if you commit 50 and I commit 50, we never really interact. We never really connect. And connection is where relationships really happen. So on that seventh item, that seventh practice, it involves rest, it involves reflection, it involves relationship, and then replenish. What I do, what's worked for me really well, is I replenish myself in the morning, before I start the daylight time, before I start that process of the day after I've rested all night long, I replenish. And the way I replenish is I take some minutes and I think about my purpose. I think about my space and how I occupy my space and what I'm supposed to bring to this world and who I'm supposed to be part of. I also think about the Creator. I read regularly. I spend some time in solitude. That's how I get my replenishment. I would challenge and encourage you, do something daily that's about replenishment, and then restart. Rather than give up, restart your life. Restart every single day. When should you restart? I think there's at least 2 restarts in every single 24-hour period. The first restart is the night before the morning. That's the best time to restart your day. Rest, and then restart that next morning. So, what are the 7 activities that you and I are really supposed to be part of? That we're supposed to live in our lives and give away to people and live our lives in such a way. And as I say these, I have in mind some of the most amazing teachers and trainers that I've ever had in my life. I'm thinking about my grandchildren every time I get around them. Now, I don't physically get around them on a regular basis. Mentally, every single day. Emotionally, every single day I'm around them, and they remind me of these things. And I want to really give these to them as well to you, because we're friends. So number one, start each day, start each activity, start every new endeavor with the end in mind. Picture it as already done. Picture it as something that's already transpired, and then work your way back and ask yourselves, what did I do to get here? And remember, the greatest one of all is a sad one. We're all going to die. So make sure you have that one taken care of. Make sure you have that one taken care of. Every relationship's going to end. Decide how you want that relationship. Number two is create word minders and memento minders and memory minders. What I mean by that is, like for what I do in my phone, I have 3 reminders every single day that at certain times during the day they come up, and it's just that one word, and it reminds me to be in that spot. The first one for me, the first reminder, the first one word is serve. Because I believe that one of the reasons I'm here is to serve. The second one is to connect. Because again, I can't really serve if I don't connect. And then the third one, which comes off at some point in the evening time before I go to bed, which is grateful. And then I have little mementos. I have 3 of them that are near me all the time or in my pocket. And those 3 remind me of essentials in my life. Big intentions in my life. And then third, memories. I have memories of people. And that's why those people that have gone on into eternity, in my mind, they're not dead, because they're still here and they're still here. And I still talk about them as though they're here. Third, we need to embrace separation. Separation is a fact of life. All of us separate at one time or another. Decide ahead of time that how you want that separation to be. Accept it when it happens. Fighting and scratching and fighting to keep somebody in your life or something in your life that's decided to go is only going to cause you hurt and pain. If it's time for it to be done, it's time for it to be done. Embrace separation as you get ready to get started. Number 4, embrace a see you later mentality. You will never hear me say goodbye to you. I've never said goodbye at a celebration of life. I've never said goodbye to somebody that I loved. I've never said goodbye. In my adult life, since I came to this understanding, not one time have I said goodbye to people. Now, I get said goodbye to quite a bit. Yet I always say, see you later, because I plan to see you later. Now, what if I physically do not get to see you later? I'll emotionally see you later. In my memory, in my emotion, I will see you again. And I will enjoy that time. I will appreciate everything that you gave to me. And then number five, I said it earlier and I want to say it again, is intend to be your best. Always be your best. Regardless of what's going on, regardless of what somebody has done, always be your best. And number 6, forgive quickly. Do not hold long accounts of bitterness, anger, and resentment. It will intoxicate your soul, and you will never again be able to see, hear, and feel life as though it was meant to be. It's only through forgiveness that you get to see, hear, and feel life the way it was meant to be. The way it was meant to be. Now, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is less about what happened and who did it. It's more about letting yourself go so that you can live your life free of that incident or that person's actions. Forgive and let yourself live free. And then lastly, number 7 is these R's. These R's of rest, reflect, relationship, replenish, and restart. Always rest. Every single day, take some time out during your day and rest. Every night, get adequate rest. Every week, take some time away. If you can't take a full day, then stack them up and bank them for later. Bank them for later so that you can take a what we call vacation. I'd like to change it into a re-cation, a recreation. Take time away and be recreated. Take time away from everything that you do. Rest and then reflect. When you reflect, I do my reflection the evening of the morning before. The reason I do that is I am convinced that the day starts in the evening of the morning thereof. That evening is when the day starts. And so, when I say reflect, reflect on what's happened. Rejoice over the good things. As you reflect on the things that's happened to you that you didn't like, return them to the people or the circumstances. Do not go to bed with those issues. And then, relationship. Spend your day either verbally or physically at some moments with somebody that you have a wonderful relationship with, and replenish. Replenish yourself in the morning. When you get up in the morning, rather than dashing into your day, take a few moments. And think about, in your replenishing times, think about who you are, what you're here to do, and how you're going to do it. And think about those people that you get to influence today. And then last is restart. Every time you goof up, every time there's going to be something that you do that you wish you didn't do. When that happens, just learn from that mistake and start again with this new knowledge, this new insight that you have. Always start again. Listen, I'm Matt, and I'm your friend. Though maybe we don't know each other, maybe we've never looked at each other eyeball to eyeball, I want you to know I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. You can reach me at success@mattupton.net, or you can call me at 916-708-8103. You can text me there as well. Yet I'd love to hear your voice. I'd like to have either a V2V meeting or an F to F meeting. Voice to voice or face to face. All right? Thanks for spending this time with me.